Hello, so I'm assuming by now you've installed the software. You've already watched one of the previous two videos talking about installation, whether or not it was for a PC or Mac, and you have the Arduino software installed. And if you open it up, you should probably have a screen something like this, okay? And what I want to do is, you notice here my device is not even plugged in yet. I want to show you what it should look like, get a baseline information. Don't plug in your device yet, okay? Let's take a look. So if we go to Tools, you'll notice in this case that the port is grayed out on my computer. Now on this particular PC, alright, this is the desktop computer, I currently have nothing plugged into any USB ports that is using what is called serial communication. Okay, so I have nothing here. Now you might want to look at yours. You might have something that shows up here. You might have something that says there's a port, but it won't say there's an Uno or anything. It'll just have some other ID or some other notification. On Macs, it oftentimes will have 2 or 3 different devices, okay, that are showing up on this port window here. You should know what your system has before you plug in your device, because then you're going to know what your device actually looks like. Alright, so I'm going to plug my device in right now. And lo and behold, it lights up. Now I'm going to close this screen again. And it should now, if you heard that beep, it was this device has found my computer, and a little handshaking went on, and my computer happily chimed away. And now you're going to see that if I go to port, I do in fact have a port, COM22. I had already plugged this in, so it found it, and of course it is hooked up to this Arduino Uno on port 22. You should make sure that your one of these is actually checked. Okay, it needs to be checked. It can't just show it. You have to have a check mark by it. Okay, so now I am connected. The next thing you need to do is make sure you have the right board. All right, I have an Arduino Uno compatible board right here. There's a good chance that if you're starting this course, you're going to have some type of Uno, but it's not absolute. You could have one of these Teensy motherboards. You could have a Nano. You could have, any one of a number of different devices depending where you are in the world and what it is that you actually purchased. But you're probably going to start with an Uno if you're starting this course, no matter where you are, because that's what we're recommending everybody start with this year. So I've got my Uno. It's now plugged in. I've got the board selected. It's time for us to get started and actually do something. So if you go to File, you're going to see there's lots of examples that are already pre-installed. I have a lot more than maybe you do because I've downloaded a number of libraries. But you'll have at least these, okay? And the one we want to go to, the very first one, is we're going to go to Examples, we're going to go to Basics, and we're going to go to Blink. Okay? And now I'm going to go ahead and close this one up. So here's Blink. Built into every copy of Arduino. It's a great place to go. All right? And I'm going to go ahead. I've checked my port. I've checked my device. I'm already hooked up. I'm going to load this. And I'm going to pause while it loads. Okay, I paused that because the very first time it handshakes and installs a new piece of code onto an Arduino, it tends to take a while. Now, future revisions will go much quicker, and I'm going to demonstrate it right now. Let's just take about 1 minute to go over this code real simply. Okay, all Arduino code, this is important, every single piece of Arduino code that we deal with is going to have at least a setup and at least a loop. Okay? If you do not have a setup and a loop, it will not work. Equally as important, I cannot have 2 setups and I cannot have more than 1 loop. Okay? So I have to have a single copy. It's also important to note, and we'll go over this a couple more times, setup will run only once. Okay? Loop runs over and over and over again. So when this code is uploaded into my Uno here, it's going to run this particular chunk first, this setup, and in fact in this particular case what it did is it actually took and set the direction of a pin. Okay, so it set this pin LED, which is actually hooked up to pin 13, and we'll talk about that here in the next video a little bit. And it set it to output, and then what we do is we're simply going high and low, in other words on and off, and we're turning on the LED, okay, which is hooked to pin 13, which is set to output, and we're doing it for 1000 milliseconds or 1 second, and then we're going off for 1000 milliseconds. So I'm going to change this a bit. I did this in my quick little crash demo. Let's make this 500, and let's make it go, well, we'll set them both for 500. Okay, so a half a second. And if I upload this, you can see it should go quicker. I don't think I'm going to pause it this time. And it compiles. You'll see some action here again where we'll see it uploading, so the communication lights will flash. And now you can see this LED is flashing at a different rate. All right, so all of you should do this. You should go to File, you should go to Examples, go to Basics, go to Blank. Okay, upload it, make sure it works. Change these numbers, make sure that the light flash changes. All right, do this a few times, play with it, have fun, see what you can do, copy and paste it. You can go ahead and do this. Go down here, paste it down. Now you can have it go at, for example, different rates. So I'll have it go on off for half a second and on off for a second. Oops, see that? I accidentally deleted that parentheses. There we go. Upload it. Okay, so play with it for a little bit. Have some fun. And on the next video, we're going to talk a little bit more about what actually happened. So I will see you very shortly, and have a good time.